Assalamu alaikum and Nai, all my beautiful people out there. I'm so excited to be back again for another video. I have been meaning to come and sit down and do another, I guess like a chit chat, a yarn, come and sit down and talk to you all. So I've had some time and I thought that I would. Today I have done this really beautiful makeup look. Now I filmed a really super quick tutorial, but if you guys would like an in-depth makeup video, let me know. And this is like the makeup for dummies, like literally so easy to do. But what I thought I would sit down and talk about today is a really important topic and something that I have really wanted to talk about for a while, and that is toxic productivity. So if you want to talk a bit about that, like this girl boss era, hustle culture, overworking, all of the above, I'm your girl, because I'm a bit of an expert, and unfortunately so. And I also want to talk about the harsh reality. I want to talk about the impact that it has on your mental health. I want to talk about mental health in general, the impact it has on your family, the impacts it has on your spirituality. Let's talk about capitalism. Let's just dig deep and have that yarn. So if you're having a coffee or a cup of tea, pull it up, let's yarn. So I have so many different parts of this that I can really give my testimony or, really give my journey. But what I'm going to primarily focus on is kind of my work career and how toxic productivity really became ingrained in me. And I, unfortunately became a part of this system where my sense of self-worth, my sense of, happiness and joy was attributed to how much I was working, how much money was in the account, or even with my growth on social media, my journey on social media, what was that growth looking like? But to begin that conversation, we have to take it all the way back to my formative years. Not something that I like talking about very much at all, but high school. So during high school, I think I had like a pretty steady, normal kind of high school experience like everybody has. Nothing majorly exciting came out of it at all, really. But in saying that, I was really blessed. I went to a really multicultural high school, all different races, many different backgrounds, many different class systems or social classes. Also, which was important, I went to a public school, and I'm really proud of that. Throughout high school, I kind of began as like a bit of an athlete or into the sports quite a bit. I played a lot of basketball, and one time in my life, I was literally playing basketball, training 3 nights a week, even 4 nights a week. So I was playing representative basketball, I was playing club basketball, so it was training, it was games, it was all of the above. And this was like my life, like playing basketball, playing sport. It was my identity. But all soon enough, that came crashing down, and alhamdulillah for that. During one of the trials that I had to go to, I believe this was a trial for New South Wales or something like that, I actually didn't want to go. I said to my mum, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. I believe I had like a sixth kind of sense. I believe that I just knew something bad was going to happen. And your girl broke her ankle. Yep, literally broke it. As soon as I fell, I knew I broke it. Again, during sports, during basketball, you have lots of falls, you have lots of injuries, but I knew I broke it. The sound, the feeling, everything. One of the coaches that was there, he instantaneously saw my foot swelling up, my ankle swelling up. He's like, do not take your shoe off until you get to the emergency room. Of course, nonetheless, I get there, scans, yada. And guys, this was a really bad break. This was a really ugly break, and it would take me out of the basketball season entirely. Now, as you can imagine, as a little 14-year-old or as a 14-year-old girl, where my whole identity, everything that I loved, everything, I was just so focused on basketball, my whole identity, all my time, all my energy was into this sport. When I broke my ankle, I was back to square one. I really had to find out who I was without this, sport as my identity. And again, I thank God, alhamdulillah, that I had this opportunity where this part of my identity, this part of my life was taken away, and I had to focus on building other aspects of myself up. This is when this is when I really started to become accustomed to toxic productivity. This is when I really started to become focused on outcomes. I soon fell in love with studies. I soon fell in love with academia. So it was during this time that I started to focus on my studies. I really started to focus on academia, and this is where the outcome focus really developed. And over the last 14 months where I've had time off social media, I've had time off everything, I've been really digging into my childhood and where I developed these work habits, where I developed this belief system or this ideology around how much I create, how much I produce really defines my worth. So I soon became really in love with academia, creating, studying, debating, all of the above. I was into it. And during high school, I feel like many people critique the education system. And of course, being here in Australia, I have a lot of different critiques, especially being a woman, especially being from a low socioeconomic background, and of course, being Indigenous. I have my own critiques of the education system, and one of them definitely has to be the prioritization of capitalism, where they're really grooming us, they're really kind of molding us into be worker bees. So during this time, I really focused on my academia. I really, had a passion for learning and my outcomes. And unfortunately, during high school, we're really compared to each other. We're graded, we're put up against different schools, for example, different areas, we're compared. And I really transferred this competitiveness. I really transferred these ideologies that I had in sport into my education, which was really, really unhealthy. I would play basketball. Of course, I could be at the courts and go home. Off season, on season, you have your training, and then you kind of put your gym stuff away, or your basketball gear away. But with academia or with my studies, it kind of followed me everywhere, and I really didn't have the skills to kind of differentiate. Soon after high school, I then went on to university, then I went on to postgraduate studies, and then I grew up and became an adult, then social media, and then work, and then motherhood, and blah, blah, blah. So all of that over the last 10 years, let's get into it. Having success and being successful, I think that's a really normal attribute of us as human beings, wanting to be successful, wanting to have achievements, wanting to have success. But the thing that really matters, or the underpinning, element of that is when do you realize that your joy and your happiness is the most important thing? Being able to express your beliefs, being able to learn, being able to get a degree or go to TAFE, whatever it is fantastic. But you also have to separate that and put your sense of happiness, your sense of joy, and your identity in a different area. This was something that took me many, many years to learn. I am now in my 30s. I'm not going to say exactly how old I am, but now in this new season of my life, I am so glad and I feel so happy that I've learned this lesson going into this new chapter, this new season of my life.